oceans deep, my faith will stand. And I will call upon your name and keep my
Keisha, good night. You're online already. Where's my charger? Okay.
grace abounds in deep
I'm just setting up.
sovereign hand. Be my God.
Welcome, Maddie. Good night. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much for joining tonight on Leadership Unscripted. Just here setting up. The show doesn't start until 8:30. So I'm going to ask that while you here, if you could share the live for me. That would be highly appreciated if you share the live for me. We will begin at 8:30. God and Time joined. Thank you for joining. The show will not start until about 8:30. In the meantime, just share the live and feel free to like the live as well. Much appreciated. Roselas, welcome. Thank you for joining. KP, thank you for joining. Tonight on Leadership Unscripted, we have a very important topic. The most dangerous person in any organization isn't who you think it is. I'm just setting up here. Please share the live for me. Like the live while you wait. Tonight's topic: the most dangerous person in any organization isn't who you think it is. Please share the live. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking. Welcome, Nikki. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking. Lati, thank you for joining. Dr. P, welcome and thank you for joining. Tonight's topic: the most dangerous person in any organization isn't who you think it is. Welcome, welcome. I tried calling you yesterday. But welcome to Leadership Unscripted. The most dangerous person in any organization isn't who you think it is. The most dangerous person in any organization is not always the loudest, the most difficult, or least competent person. Who it is? The most dangerous person in any organization. That is our topic tonight on Leadership Unscripted. I will begin at exactly 8:30. But I'm just here trying to share the live. Thank you, Davin. Welcome. Good night and welcome to Leadership Unscripted. Please share the live and invite a friend. Tonight's topic: the most dangerous person in any organization isn't who you think it is. Please share the live, invite a friend, ask that friend to invite a friend. Tonight's topic is hot. So I walk with my tea tonight, with my little ginger tea, yes. Tonight's topic is going to be hot. The most dangerous person in any organization isn't who you think it is. Welcome to Leadership Unscripted. Thank you for joining. I'm Dr. Ryan Dale, and tonight's topic: the most dangerous person in any organization isn't who you think it is. Please like the live, please share the live, invite a friend, ask that friend to invite a friend. Help me spread the word. Tonight's topic promises to be hot. Could not walk with water tonight, so instead I walked with my ginger tea. Yes. The most dangerous person in any organization isn't who you think it is. Sam, thank you for joining. Miss Barracks, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Miss Barracks. Tonight's topic: the most dangerous person in any organization isn't who you think it is. We're going all in tonight. Tonight we're not going to be dancing around any conversation. We're going direct tonight. Because sometimes we need to let them know that we know that they are dangerous. They need to know that we know they are dangerous. So the most dangerous person in any organization isn't who you think it is. Make sure you share the live. Invite a friend, invite a colleague. Welcome, Charmaine Gale. Thank you for joining Leadership Unscripted. Tonight's topic: the most dangerous person in any organization isn't who you think it is. Charmaine Gale, spill the tea. Trust me, I'm going in hard tonight. They need to know that we know they can't trick us. May need turmeric and black peppermint than ginger for pain in the back when the person is revealed. I tell you, Dr. P. All the cliques they form, we know them. When they're communicating with us, they BCC people in the email that they think we don't know. We know them. Welcome, Sam. Thank you for joining Leadership Unscripted. Keisha, welcome. Tonight's topic: the most dangerous person in any organization isn't who you think it is. Sometimes you point finger at that one staff member because that staff member stays to themselves. You say, oh, because they're not laughing with us, they're not with us. That may have been the most innocent person. Yes. Thank you, Sylvia German. Thank you for joining. The most dangerous person in any organization isn't who you think it is. We're going all in tonight. They need to know we know them. They need to know we know them. They appear. They put on a front to get you to trust them. They defend you to your face. Wait till you're absent. Whew. They defend you to your face. But when you're absent, they come and tell you everything that others are saying, never what they say. I'm going all in tonight. I think on this platform, on Leadership Unscripted, I think we've warmed up enough. I think we have warmed up enough. So as of tonight, we're going all in. We're going all in tonight. As of tonight, we're going all in. So I'm starting with tonight's topic. The most dangerous person in any organization isn't who you think it is. Leadership Unscripted will take it tonight. The most dangerous person in any organization isn't who you think it is. So while you wait, share the live, like the live. There will be a segment for everyone tonight. If you're not that dangerous person, you will identify the dangerous person in your institution. Yes? After tonight's live, will you leave this live being offended tonight? Will you go away and reflect tonight? Or will you say, I knew I wasn't wrong. I knew I wasn't the mad person. They can't fool me. What will it be tonight? The most dangerous person in any organization. They're always in your office. Everything that happened, they run come and tell you, but never what they say. Their contribution is always omitted. They help you point fingers. They're the first to start pointing fingers and plant seed of discord in your mind. Sometimes they cause you as a leader to start looking at innocent people sideways. Yes, man. Thank you, Karen, for that gift. Thank you very much. It's appreciated. Karen, please share the live. Share the live. Invite a friend. Tonight's topic is going to be a hot one. Hot. Hot like my ginger tea tonight. Hot. I didn't walk with water tonight. I have it here though, because we may need to cool down later on. But I'm starting off hot. Ginger hot tonight. Starting off ginger hot tonight. So I will start in 1 minute. Donovan Morris said, thank you for joining. Our topic for tonight. The most dangerous person in any organization isn't who you think it is. AB2 Pretty, thank you for joining. You've arrived on Leadership Unscripted. Won't burn me at all, Shermaine. Won't burn me. But sometimes we're dancing around some topics that needs to be spoken about. Yes. Sometimes we need to send people to reflect. But tonight we're going to send some people to reflect. Too toxic, yes. And they're silent with it. So we're gonna deal with it head on tonight. So tonight's topic on leadership unscripted. The most dangerous person in any organization isn't who you think it is. That is our topic for tonight. The most dangerous person in any organization, my, isn't who you think it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. The tension is building. Are you ready? It's time for the final countdown. Let's count down together. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Leadership Unscripted, where we have honest conversations about leadership, people, systems, character, culture, and impact. Tonight's topic is the most dangerous person in any organization isn't who you think it is. Most leaders know how to identify an obvious problem. The openly disrespectful employee is visible. The poor performer can be measured. The person who repeatedly breaks policy can be investigated. The loud critic can be challenged. But some of the greatest organizational damage comes from people who do not initially look dangerous. They attend every meeting. They appear helpful. They have access to information. They know the history. They understand the workplace relationship. They may be close to leadership. They may be close to trusted employees as well. They may be trusted by employees. But behind the scenes, they may be doing something much more destructive. They may be controlling information. They may be telling different versions of the same story to different people. Let me repeat. They may be telling different versions of the same story to different people. They may be creating suspicion. They may be discouraging confidence in leadership. Sometimes they are protecting underperformance. They may be quietly resisting change. They may be rewarding loyalty to themselves instead of commitment to the mission. They may be keeping conflict alive because their influence depends on division. The most dangerous person is not always the one who openly attacks the organization. Sometimes it is the person who becomes indispensable by keeping the organization unstable. Tonight, we're going to examine how hidden influence works, why leaders often miss it, what warning signs to look for, and how to respond without becoming paranoid, reactionary, or unfair. So I want to begin with a scenario tonight. A team has one employee who is well liked, experienced, and highly connected. Whenever a new policy is introduced, the employee says publicly, "I support that decision." But privately, the person tells colleagues, "This will never work. Leadership does not understand what is happening. Just wait, this will fail. Do not invest too much effort because it will probably change again." The employee never openly refuses. However, implementation repeatedly weakens. Is this person A, simply expressing an opinion? B, providing healthy challenge? C, quietly undermining the organization? Or D, protecting colleagues from poor leadership? What is that person quietly doing? Up front, they say, "Yes, I support that initiative." But when they meet in their teams, their voice change. "This will never work. Leadership don't really understand what's going on. Don't put too much effort in that policy. It soon change." What is that person doing? Are they simply expressing an opinion? Are they providing healthy challenge? Are they protecting colleagues from poor leadership? Or are they quietly undermining the organization? Sherman says they're undermining the company. Let me hear from other people. What is that person doing? What is that person doing? In the staff meeting, in the board meeting, they agree because you, the leader, is there. But behind your back, when they're among the team members, things change. Undermining, you're right. Because guess what? Healthy disagreements raises concerns through appropriate channels. It offers evidence, proposes alternatives, and accepts responsibility for the impact of one's word. Alicia says two-faced. Destructive influence spreads doubt without assuming responsibility for the outcome. It often happens in informal conversations where the person can later deny what was said. So they're not going to say it. When they're spreading doubt, when that influential person in their organization is spreading doubt, they're not going to do it in any formal setting. They take it to informal setting. Because guess what? They know it cannot be proven. I was joking. We were just joking. We were just joking. But they know they're planting seeds. They're planting seeds of doubt. And they know exactly what they're doing. So the most dangerous person in any organization may be the trusted person who quietly disconnects people from truth, trust, and purpose. Let me go again. The most dangerous person in any working environment is that trusted person who quietly disconnects people from the truth, trust, and purpose. So this person may not create every problem, but they can make every problem harder to solve. Why? Because organizations function through relationships and information. And as leaders need accurate information. Employees need confidence in fair processes. Teams need enough trust to cooperate. However, when one person manipulates those elements, the damage spreads. A loud problem can be confronted. The leader gets a chance to address it. A hidden influence can become part of the culture. To those people who walk around and they're friend with everyone, agree with the policy up front, but when they go among the team, they spread doubt. They manipulate the truth. They tell different versions to different people of the same story. Dangers. They are the danger to your organization. And I'm going to say something to you. Not every critique is dangerous. Not everyone. So before we go any further, let me establish something important. Not every person who disagrees with leadership is dangerous. No. Not every person who raises a concern is disloyal. No. Not every whistleblower is a troublemaker. Not every uncomfortable voice is toxic. No. Sometimes the person who challenges leadership is the most committed person in the room. And they challenge because they want the best outcome. Sometimes they are the most committed person in the room. Healthy organizations need people who can say, this decision may create an unintended consequence. The data does not support this conclusion. Employees are experiencing something leadership may not see. We need people who stand up to us and say, this practice appears inconsistent, boss, with our stated values. It doesn't match our stated values. The danger is not disagreement. The danger is dishonest influence. Dishonest influence. Here's my question. How can leaders tell the difference between a truth teller and an underminer? How do you know the difference between a truth teller and someone who is an underminer? How do you know the difference? Let me hear from you. How do you know the difference between someone who's simply telling you the truth as it is? The policy won't work. They don't say it will work. So they're going to tell you. Versus somebody who's just trying to undermine you. Dr. P says their intention, you know. Because some of them, when they stand up and they talk out, some of them, they're trying to undermine you. While you have others who speak up because they're fully in, they're invested in the success of the organization. So they're going to let you know respectfully that I don't think that policy will work. It doesn't quite connect with what is happening on the ground. And they'll tell you. And they'll allow you to explain. And you come to a compromise. And you have that fruitful and conversation. But then there are others who are just undermining. They're in the meetings and they're grunting. You see the smirk on their face. Be careful. They're silent, but be careful. You see them looking around the room. They're reading the room. They're looking for those employees who have a little doubt on their face in that meeting. And as your meeting done, they're finding their way to connect with those employees to sow seed of doubt. Because that's what they want. So a truth teller is usually willing to identify the concern clearly. They'll tell you, this is my concern. They provide evidence of their concern. They're going to provide evidence of the concern. They're going to speak directly to you. They're not going to go behind your back. They're going to accept, when you start scrutinizing their concern, they're going to accept the scrutiny. They're going to come with suggested solution. So they're not going to find fault and don't have any solution. They're going to come with solution. Let us try it this way. They remain consistent in different rooms. So their language don't change. Their support of the policy don't change. They support responsible decisions once a process is complete. They'll support that. Now, the underminer, the person who's there to undermine you as a leader, they use these vague claims. Their reason as to why a policy or decision won't work is vague, cannot be proven. They speak differently to different audiences. They avoid accountability. They spread suspicion. They exaggerate private information. They create problems without proposing solution. So everything is a problem for them and they cannot find a solution. Be careful. Dangerous people. Dangerous. They deny involvement when challenged. Even when you know they were there. Even when you saw them a part of the conversation. They're going to stand to your face and deny they weren't there. They didn't say anything. Those are the dangerous people in organizations that we need to look out for. There's some key information here. Do not punish honesty because you are afraid of disloyalty. But do not confuse hidden manipulation with honest disagreement. So as I said before, when you're challenged as a leader, when someone disagrees with an initiative, and they come to you with, they are able to identify the concern they're uncomfortable with. They provide the evidence. They speak to you. They suggest solutions. Those are people you can trust. But when the others who provide vague responses, they disagree, but they can't provide a solution. They can't give you an alternative. Be careful. They say one, they support it in front of you, and whisper behind your back. They twist the truth. They tell different versions of the truth. They play the victim. They were a part of the decision-making process. But when it's time for it to be executed, they distance themselves. Be careful. They're very dangerous. They're very dangerous. So now I'm going to talk about the person who leaders allow to know everything. Hear this one now. Imagine an organization with a long-serving employee. This person knows everything, the ins and outs of the institution. New employees are told, if you really want to understand this place, speak with that person. Senior leaders rely on the person for historical knowledge. Employees rely on the person for informal guidance. The person becomes the unofficial translator of every decision. A leader makes an announcement. Before the official message is fully understood, this person has already explained what it really means. A new manager arrives. The person tells employees, we have seen this before. Do not trust the new direction. Just keep your head down. When concerns are raised, the person says, I was only trying to help. Over time, employees stop interacting with interpreting leadership directly. They interpret leadership through that person. So that person is the law of the land. That is a dangerous concentration of influence. So sometimes we mean well, And sometimes we are delegating, but be careful what you delegate and who you delegate to. Because sometimes through your delegation, you've given certain people some influence in your organization, and they use that same influence to cripple you and cripple the institution. What did I say? What did I say? As leaders, be careful of the influence you give to some people. While you delegate, be careful you delegate too much responsibility to one person. Because the more hold they have on the institution, the more their influence grow. If everyone comes to the school, you're pointing them in that person's direction. You're growing their influence. And if that person isn't loyal to you, they're going to cripple you and cripple the institution that deserves a what? All right. So be careful. Be careful. Be careful. So I'm going to share something from my book, The Psychology of Fragility. The Psychology of Fragility. Because guess what? Fragile systems often depend on informal power. The organizational chart may show one structure, but influence operates through another. What did I say? The organizational chart may show the principal at the top or the general manager at the top. But the reality on the ground is the cleaner of the influence. Is the secretary of the most influence? Is the security guard have the most influence? Be careful. Be careful. People learn who control access, who knows private information, who can damage reputations, who can influence the leader, who can make work easier or harder. That hidden structure can become more powerful than the formal one. Do not, as a leader, do not allow anybody in your organization to have certain influence over you, where when you make a decision and employees want to voice their concern, they go to that person. And that person come to you and you change. Problem you're creating. You are creating problem. Because the message you're sending is that there is somebody in the organization who is more powerful than you. And it could be the security guard. It could be the cleaner. It could be anybody. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. So I'm just going to read. I've seen it too, Dr. P. I've seen it. So I'm going to read one page here. One page. And it's from page 108 of my book, The Psychology of Fragility. And the subtitle is The Absorption of Reformers. Now listen to this. One of the most sophisticated strategies fragile system employs is not opposition. It's absorption. Reformers are rarely attacked directly. Instead, they are welcomed. This dynamic is common in education systems when new leaders arrive with strong reform agendas. Or a superintendent may be hired specifically to raise academic standards. Or a principal may be brought in to transform a struggling school. Initially, the system celebrates the reformer. Their vision is highlighted in communications. Their initiatives receive early attention. But gradually, the institution machinery begins absorbing their energy. Initiatives are routed through multiple committees. Pilot programs require extended evaluation periods. Professional development cycles stretch across years. Each step appears reasonable, but the cumulative effect is delay. The reformer's urgency becomes diluted by the process. And if the reformer lacks strategic awareness, something even more subtle occurs. They begin internalizing the moderation. They adjust their language. They soften their timelines. They begin anticipating resistance before it happens. That's my little sharing from that book tonight. So let me move on. Let me move on. I want to remind you tonight. Danger, you see, danger does not always come from the person with the highest title. Always know that. The danger in an organization does not always come from the person with the highest title. It may come from the person who controls what reaches the person with the highest title. What did I say? It may come from the person who controls what reaches the person with the highest title. A leader can make only the best decision possible from the information received. If that information is filtered, distorted, delayed, or selectively presented, leadership becomes vulnerable. So at your year group level, at your team level, you make a decision. And you depend on the head of department to take that information to the principal. And when the principal comes to staff meeting, you're hearing something different. You say, but that's not what we discussed. Did I hear right? That's not what we discussed. Remember, information can be filtered. It can be distorted. It can be delayed. So sometimes, do not let everybody walk with your message. Take your message to yourself. That influential person in the organization who act as if they are the most influence. They have the leaders here. They have their own agenda. When they're taking your message, if that message doesn't benefit them or put them in the best image of... they want to look good in front of the leader, they're going to distort it. Because they want to always look good. They want to remain in good grace. So be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Because we have some dangerous people in our organizations. Now I'm going to tell you about 8 types of dangerous organizational influence. 8 of them. Dangerous organizational influence. The 1, the information gatekeeper. Dangerous influence. The information gatekeeper. So this person decides what information reaches leadership and what stays hidden. They may delay messages, remove context, exaggerate concerns, or decide which voices deserve access. The next dangerous influence to any organization, the professional victim. What did I say? The professional victim. This person is never responsible for anything. Every conflict happened to them. Every consequence is unfair. Every leader misunderstands them. They gain influence by constantly recruiting sympathy. What did I say? What did I say? The professional victim, always playing victim. They're never responsible for anything. Every conflict happened to them. Every consequence is unfair. Everybody misunderstands them. And that is how they gain influence. By constantly recruiting through sympathy. Constantly recruiting through sympathy. And again. The next one. The next dangerous organizational influence. The silent saboteur. This person agrees publicly but resists privately. They delay implementation, withhold effort, encourage others not to cooperate, then point to the failure as proof that the decision was wrong. They sabotage the decisions. Be careful. Be careful. Here's another dangerous organizational influence. Here's another dangerous organizational influence. The relationship broker. The relationship broker. Hear this one now. This person decides who belongs, who receives information, and who becomes isolated. Their power comes from controlling access to people. So they tell you who you must talk to. They want to control who you communicate with in the organization. Be careful. Be careful. The next one, the high performer who damages everyone else. What did I say? The high performer. The high performer who damages everyone else is a danger to your organization. So this person produces excellent individual results while weakening team performance. It's all about them. Leaders protect them because their output is visible. The harm they cause is less measurable. So it's all about them. They produces excellent results by weakening others and damage other people's reputation. Be careful. Here's another influence, dangerous influence to an organization. The keeper of old wounds. The keeper of old wounds. This person ensures that no conflict is ever fully resolved. They ensure that no conflict is ever fully resolved. Whenever progress begins, they remind everyone of what happened years ago. History becomes a weapon against change. What did I say? History becomes weapon against change. As you introduce a new initiative, they remind everyone of what happened 10, 15 years ago. They remind everyone of what happened last year. Oh, they soon change. Don't kill yourself. They soon come with a new initiative. Don't kill yourself. I've seen it over and over. They use history as their weapon against change. Be careful of them. Be careful of them. And sometimes when they have these outbursts in your meetings, and you smile at it and you laugh and think it's a joke. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. They are planting seed. They're planting seed of discord. They know just what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Hear this one now. The loyal protector of dysfunction. This person defends poor practices because they benefit from the existing arrangement. They call resistance tradition. They call accountability disrespect. They call necessary change instability. And this is their word. This is how we've always done it. If it's not broken, why change it? Careful, be careful, be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. And the last one, the last danger to any organization, the leader, and I left this for the last one. The most dangerous thing to any organization is the leader who refuses to act. The leader who refuses to act. So the most dangerous person may sometimes be the leader who sees the damage and does nothing. Not because they do not understand, but because confrontation feels inconvenient. So silence becomes permission. So a leader who sees that the culture of the organization is deteriorating and says nothing, you're very dangerous too. You're very dangerous. You are very dangerous. So here's, as I move on to another segment, and this one is a case study about the trusted advisor. The trusted advisor. Because in any organization, you see, We have people we trust. And people who we will run some ideas with. Run some ideas to hear their view. You know, you think of something, you're working on a policy. You have that person where you can call and say, what do you think about this idea? You call them the trusted advisor. So hear this now. You are the new head of an organization. Please remember to share the live. Like the live while you listen. So you are the new head of an organization. A long-serving employee quickly becomes one of your most trusted advisors. The person appears knowledgeable and supportive. Over time, however, you notice a pattern. Every employee the advisor dislikes is described as difficult. Every person loyal to the advisor is described as dependable. Complaints against the advisor's allies are minimized. Complaints against others are presented as urgent. As a leader, what do you do? As a leader, what do you do? Are you going to continue relying on the advisor because experience is valuable? Or should you broaden your information source, verify claim, establish more transparent processes, and assess patterns objectively? What do you do? Are you going to continue relying on this advisor who everyone who they're not friends with is a problem, and everyone who is their ally is very supportive? What should you do? The last option, broaden your information source. Stop relying on that one person. And it goes back to what I said earlier. Stop giving one person too much influence in your organization. They can use that information to cripple you. One fallout and you're done for. One disagreement between you and that person. You have to be wondering, are they going to share everything I told them? So you try every single thing not to stay in the good grace of that person. And guess what's happening now? That person starts leading you. So you're just a figurehead. And soon they start dictating to you what needs to happen in that organization. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. So here's the important part of tonight's discussion. Why leaders miss the most dangerous people. Why sometimes as leaders we miss them. The question is, why do leaders often miss hidden organizational danger? Why do we miss these people all the time? One, the person is sometimes they're useful. They're very useful. They solve problems. They know the system. They know the organization in and out. They're always available. So leaders become reluctant to question them. Because if they're always available, they help you solve problems, they know the organization in and out, you're not going to question their motive. But sometimes they're pulling a wool over your eye. Yes. Next one. The person flatters authority. They understand what the leader wants to hear. They present themselves as loyal and protective. I have your back, boss. Boss, I have your back. Act as if they're your protector. Careful. That will cause you to miss them, to not recognize that they're a danger in your organization. The person attacks others first. So by shaping the story early, they influence how leadership interprets later evidence. They start attacking others. Every little thing, they start pointing fingers at other people. And they're planting seed in your mind as a leader. The harm is relational, not easily measurable. Hear this one now. Missed targets can be documented, but damaged trust is harder to quantify. Then we have the employees who are afraid to speak. People may believe reporting to the problem will make their situation worse. Because sometimes you have employees who know the problem in the organization, but they're not going to tell you because they know you're close to the person. So they remain quiet. they remain quiet. And sometimes you are the leader who fears disruption. So confronting the person, because they have so much influence on the organization, confronting them may create conflict, expose other weaknesses, or require difficult decisions. So you ignore everything. You remain silent, you remain quiet, and allow them to tear away at the culture of your organization. So the most person in any organization, the most dangerous person in any organization, remember, isn't always who you think it is. What did I say? It isn't always who you think it is. So let me ask you a question. Which is more dangerous? Open opposition or hidden resistance? Which is more dangerous? Open opposition or hidden resistance? What do you think is more dangerous to an institution? Which is more dangerous? Open opposition or hidden resistance? Which is more dangerous to an institution? On point, Dr. P, the hidden resistance. Because open opposition, they're not hiding anything. They're telling you what they're not in agreement with. But you see the hidden resistance, you don't know it's happening. Problem. So open opposition gives you something visible to address. You can address it. Hidden resistance can remain active for years. Hidden resistance can remain active for years. Now, here's a big point I want to bring to your attention tonight. You're confident in the organization. The person you share everything with. Every organizational secret. Things that must not leave certain meetings. TK says, sleeper cell, exactly. You tell them everything. So this segment is called the weaponization of confidentiality. Confidential information can become dangerous in the hands of someone without integrity. What did I say? Confidential information can become dangerous in the hands of someone without integrity. Some people gain influence by suggesting they know more than they can say. They use phrases such as, I cannot tell you everything. There's more happening behind the scenes. You did not hear this from me. You always hear them. You did not hear this from me. Leadership is discussing you. I know what they really think. These statements create anxiety without allowing facts to be tested. Have you ever been made anxious by someone who claimed to know confidential information? Principal is about to do staff deployment. And you have this somebody walk around the school and act as if they know what the decisions are. When 9.9 times out of 10 they don't. And they walk around the school, they spread misinformation and cause unnecessary stress. Those people are the dangers in any organization. Be careful of them. Be careful of them. Be careful of them. Remember, confidentiality protects legitimate privacy, but secrecy protects power. Those are not the same thing. Those are not the same thing. A trustworthy person does not use privileged information to make others dependent on them. No, you don't do that. You don't do that. And now we're going to talk about healthy influence versus destructive influence. Yeah, man, because you sometimes you have people in the organization, they have influence in the organization. But those influence, they're healthy, not destructive. We're going to distinguish between the both. No. Influence itself is not dangerous. It's not. Every organization needs respected people who helps others understand change, solve problems, and remain connected. We all need that. Every organization needs that. The question is how the influence is used. Let me distinguish now between healthy influencers and destructive influencers. Healthy influencers clarify rather than confuse. They encourage direct communication. When you go to them with a problem, they're going to say, go and ask the principal, go and ask the manager, go and ask the supervisor. Go and find out for yourself. Don't listen to other healthy influencers. They correct rumors. Healthy influencers correct rumors. They raise concerns. They raise concerns responsibly. One second. All right. They raise concerns responsibly. They support fair accountability. They help new people integrate. They share information appropriately. They strengthen trust in the mission of the organization. They do not need to control every relationship. Those are healthy influencers in the organization. Here now about the destructive ones. Create discrepancy. They create dependency. They want you to depend on them for everything. They spread doubt. They divide people into camps. They clique up. Anybody in an organization who still love to form cliques. Destructive influencers they are. Destructive influence. And the cliquey. Anybody who is cliquey. Destructive. They use private information as leverage. They punish those who do not align with them. They weaken decisions they did not control. Hear this one. They present themselves as the only trustworthy source. They present themselves as the only trustworthy source. And they ensure that conflict is always kept alive. Destructive. Boy, welcome. Hello, Dr. Dale. I go to Red Bay Primary School. Hi, why are you not sleeping? It's after 9. Now, to think about the most influential person in your organization. Think about the most important person in your organization. Do they make the organization stronger? Or do they make people more dependent on them? Think about the most influential person in your organization. Do they make the organization stronger? Or do they make people more dependent on them? I don't need an answer. Just think. The best organizational influencers create more leaders. The most dangerous ones create followers loyal primarily to them. What did I say? The best organizational influencers create more leaders. The most dangerous ones create followers loyal primarily to themselves. So the best organizational influence, the healthy influencers, you see, they're going to let top management know so and so has skills in that area. Use them up. They're going to point you in the right direction. They're gonna ensure that when opportunities come, they mention you. They push you towards. Those are good influencers. Those are healthy influencers. But anybody in any organization who wants you to become overly dependent on them, run. Problem. Now I'm going to turn my attention just for a minute to this book, The Teaching and Learning Leader. Because this topic tonight also connects with teaching and learning. Because strong leadership cannot be built through isolation. Leaders need direct access to the people closest to the work. If you're a principal, you need direct access to your teachers. Stop depending on your deputies, your HODs. No, you need direct access to your teachers. They must listen across levels, examine evidence, and create cultures where information travels honestly. Your teachers, those are lower realm, should be able to bring the information directly to you, not always through the different levels of the organization. They must have direct access to you. Now, listen to this one. And when they have direct access to you, they get to trust you. And they understand you. They understand how you lead. They understand the kind of leader you are. So when those other influencers want to tell them otherwise, they know differently. Because they have direct access to the source. And that's the kind of climate and culture you want to create in your institution. So hear this, trust. The foundation of instructional leadership is trust. Trust is one, and I'm reading from page 80 of this book. Page 80 of the Teaching and Learning Leader. It says, trust is one of the most powerful elements in any school. Without trust, even well-designed leadership strategies can fail. Teachers must believe that leadership actions are intended to support their professional growth rather than simply monitor their performance. When trust exists, teachers share challenges openly, teachers seek feedback, teachers experiment with new strategies. Without trust, teachers often protect themselves by limiting professional dialogue. Instructional leaders can build trust through several actions: listening carefully, acknowledging teachers' expertise, involving teachers in decisions, and maintaining transparency about leadership goals. Trust develops over time through consistent leadership behavior. When leaders communicate openly about the purpose of their actions, teachers gain confidence in leadership intentions. That confidence creates space for honest, professional conversations. Those conversations ultimately strengthens trust. This is why. If the influencers only want you to report to them, be careful. They must provide you access to the leadership. They must provide you access to every levels of the organization. You don't want to be dependent on anyone. No. That's not healthy. And as leaders, always ensure that everyone in your organization, they have direct access to you. They should feel that if you have concerns, if they want to have a dialogue with you, they should have access to you. They shouldn't be able to, they should not be sending it through third and fourth and other people. No. You should create a culture. The culture should exist where they have direct access to you. Always remember that. Always remember. So a leader who remains distant becomes dependent on interpreters. And this is where the allies comes in. And those allies can damage you. So when you remain distant, you become dependent on interpreters. People have to tell you what's going on. People have to tell you what's happening. People have to tell you what other staff members are saying. Be careful. A leader who never walks the organization, speaks directly with people, reviews evidence, or invites challenge can easily become trapped inside a carefully constructed reality. What did I say? Remember, a leader who remains distant becomes dependent on interpreters. We don't want interpreters. We do not need any interpreters. We're not giving anybody too much influence in an institution. Thank you very much. Now, I want you to be the leader in this. You're all gonna be the leader now. Hear this scenario. A rumor begins circulating that significant jobs will be cut. A rumor begins circulating in the organization that significant jobs will be cut. Employees becomes anxious. Productivity declines. When leadership investigates, the rumor appears to have started with a respected employee who says, "I only shared what I heard because people deserved to know." There was no verified information. What should the leader do? What should the leader do? A rumor begins circulating that significant jobs will be cut. Employees become anxious. Everybody starts worrying about their job. Productivity declines. When leadership investigates, the rumor appears to have started with a respected employee. When that employee is confronted, that employee says, "I only shared what I heard because people deserved to know." That person provided no verified evidence. What would you do as a leader? Ashley says, cut that employee. Exactly. Cut that employee. They have too much influence. Cut the employee. Have that direct conversation with them. That employee needs a come to Jesus moment. So sometimes you see, I can't ignore it. Needs to be sent on me. Exactly. Exactly. Because those employees, you see, when you ignore the rumors that started in your institution, and there's a gossip starter, and you find out who started the gossip, you better send them a memo. Exactly. You can't ignore it. Because if you ignore it, they're going to think it's acceptable. They're going to start another rumor and another rumor. And they keep spreading lies on people and damage other innocent people in the organization. Cause unnecessary stress. So when people should be focusing on being productive, they're worrying about what their next move will be. So be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Here now are some signs what ignorant becomes. Exactly. If we ignore it, it becomes culture. Here are some signs. Here are some warning signs leaders should not ignore. I'm going to give you some warning signs that leaders should not ignore. The same person appears at the center of multiple conflicts, but is never formally involved. Don't ignore it. The same person appears at the center of multiple conflicts, but is never formally involved. Don't ignore it. Employees speak positively in meeting, but resist afterwards. Don't ignore it. Different groups receive different versions of the same information. Don't ignore it. Staff are afraid to communicate directly with leadership. Can't ignore it as a leader. New employees are quickly told whom to trust and whom to avoid. Cannot ignore it. One person appears to know confidential matters outside their responsibility. Don't ignore that. People who disagree with an informal influencer become isolated. Rumors repeatedly begin before official announcements. This one, rumors repeatedly begin before official announcements. Can't ignore that. Leaders receive only positive information until problems become severe. High performers leave without fully explaining why. Employees use phrases such as, "You did not hear it from me." They come to you and tell you, "You did not hear it from me." Watch out. Employees use phrases such as, "You did not hear it from me." Watch out. Team members seek approval from an unofficial person before acting. Can't ignore it. Previous conflicts are constantly revived. Policies are applied differently depending on the person or the relationship with the boss. Can't ignore that. And finally, the organization cannot function smoothly when one person is absent. Because they control the key to the kingdom. No. As a leader, do not ignore those signs. They are considered as hidden damage. Hidden damage. Hidden damage. So here, I'm going to ask you to say if you agree, disagree, or it depends. Leaders should keep their inner circle small. Agree, disagree, or depends. Leaders should keep their inner circle small. Agree, disagree, or depends. What do you say? As a leader, you need to keep your inner circle small. Agree, disagree, or depends. What do you say? Let me hear from you, man. What do you say? As a leader, do you need an inner circle? Do you need to have an inner circle at work? Or should you try to remain should you try to have professional relationships? Good night, India. Welcome. When you see these, do you address it head on or wait for something to happen again? No, you have to address it. 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 Because it becomes a part of the culture. Professional relationships. Hi, Sky. Good night. Dr. Free says, in our workplace, we seek to have professional relationships. Gossip is harmless if the information is true. Agree, disagree, or it depends. Gossip is harmless if the information is true. Do you agree, disagree, or it depends? Gossip is harmless if the information is true. Agree, disagree, or depend? Disagree. No gossip is ever harmless. Thank you, guys. No gossip is ever harmless. A gossip is a gossip. And we're going to address it head on. This one. Informal leaders should receive formal responsibility. Informal leaders should receive formal responsibility. The informal leaders are those who have some big influence. Everybody look to them for everything. Are we promoting informal leaders in our organizations? Can two leaders run the same institution? Because whether or not we like it, if you give a person too much influence, they become an informal leader. DJG says gossip is unprofessional. It has no place in a working environment. Exactly. It has no place. No place at all. No place at all. So let's draw our attention to the informal leader. Should we give informal leaders formal titles? Informal leaders are those. Hot daddy. Good night. Do we give people too much influence? When you give them too much influence and they start controlling certain narratives in your institution, whether or not you like it, they are considered an informal leader. Are you going to make them formal? Because when they become formal, there will be a problem. Because an organization cannot be run by two leaders. No, can't be run by two leaders. Cannot. Two bulls cannot rule in one. Exactly. Two bulls cannot rule in one. And that's why, if in any institution, if you're a leader tonight, if there's an individual in your organization with too much influence, start pulling back. Do it in a subtle way. Without offending anybody, start pulling back. Start pulling back. Let the influence be shared around the institution. But do not let any one person Who said that, Daddy? India. No, you see, no. Do not let one person have too much information. Please. Do not. Thank you. Yes, Kaisha agreeing with DJG. Gossip is unprofessional. It has no place in work. And I see Kaisha agreeing to that. So do not let one person have too much influence on your institution. They'll tear it apart. So every night I give you a framework. And I think the most fitting framework for tonight is a trust framework. Trust. Because there can be no successful team without trust. So the team trust, always remember, to protect an organization without creating paranoia, use the trust framework. The T, always test information. Don't just take it as somebody tell you anything you're wrong with it. No. Test information. Do not make major decisions as a leader based on one person's version of events. What did I say? Do not make major decisions based on one person's version of events. Seek evidence, context, and multiple perspectives. I see somebody asking if I'm single and calling me a hot daddy on the line. So if you want to get my attention, you see, go over Amazon and buy one of this book first. And when you come back and show me evidence, I'll tell you if I'm single or not. Okay, darling? Thank you. Then the R in trust. Reduce unhealthy dependency. Ensure that knowledge, relationships, and processes are not controlled by one individual. Remember that. The U, use direct communication. Encourage people to speak to the appropriate person rather than through informal intermediaries. Don't do that. The S in trust, set behavioral standards. In your organization, set behavioral standards. Define expectations concerning confidentiality, communication, respect, disagreement, and accountability. And the T in trust, track patterns, not personalities. What should you do? Track patterns, not personalities. Do not label someone dangerous because of one uncomfortable interaction. Don't do that. Examine repeated behavior, impact, evidence, and context. Always do that. Examine repeated behavior, impact, evidence, and context. Just if there's a disagreement, someone doesn't agree with an initiative, don't label them. Don't label them. Observe, examine. Is this a repeated behavior? What evidence do you have? And consider the context. So what leaders should do? What should leaders do? If as a leader, you want to limit one individual from having too much control over your organization, what do? Increase your direct visibility. Increase your direct visibility. Come out of your office. Come out of your office. You cannot lead from behind a desk. Come out of your office. Let your team members see you. Create multiple information channels. Create multiple information channels so that one person don't control every information. That will cripple your organization. Clarify communication. Clarify communication. Document patterns of behavior. Address behavior directly. Always protect fair process. Constantly examine the systems you have in place. When trust is broken, always take the time to repair trust. When trust is broken, always take the time to repair trust. Always take the time to repair trust. Always remember that. So tonight, on the family table, tonight's family table question is, what makes someone trustworthy? And this is not a question you're going to answer here. It's a question for you to have with your family at home, your friends, your colleagues at work. So instead of having trivial conversations, use this to start conversation. What makes someone trustworthy? Then you're going to discuss. Is trust based on what a person say? What they keep confidential? How they behave when they're angry? How they speak about absent people? Whether their story changes depending on the audience? Whether they accept responsibility? Start having those conversations about the question, what makes someone trustworthy? India says, no, I think trust is based on action. Perfect. Good response, India. Trust is based on actions. Yes. It means you're listening. Trust is based on action. Thank you, India. So here is tonight's challenge. For the next week, listen carefully to the way information moves around you. Do not become suspicious of everyone. Simply ask, does this conversation clarify or confuse? Does it solve a problem or recruit an audience? Is the person willing to speak directly? Is evidence presented? Is the story consistent? Does this information strengthen the mission or deepen division? Then examine your own behavior. Have you ever shared something you did not verify? Have you ever shared something you did not verify? Have you ever told different versions of a story to different people? Have you ever protected someone because of your relationship with them? Have you ever remained silent while a false narrative spread? Have you ever remained silent while a false narrative spread? Organizational integrity is not only the leader's responsibility. What did I say? The integrity of any organization is not only the responsibility of the leader. Every person contributes to the culture. It means if you're a part of the gossip, you're a part of the problem. And that's why I say organizational integrity is not only the leader's responsibility. It is the responsibility of every single person on the team. So before we close, this is a statement I want you to type in the chat tonight. Trust truth more than influence. Let me see you type that. Trust truth more than influence. That's what I want you to walk away with tonight from tonight's presentation. Trust truth more than influence. So the most dangerous person in an organization is not always the loudest critic. It is not always the least competent employee. No. It is not always the person who openly resists. Sometimes it is the trusted insider who controls information, divides relationships, protects dysfunction, and quietly weakens confidence while appearing loyal. But there's another truth. Hidden manipulators gain power where systems are weak. Let me go again. Hidden manipulators gain power where systems are weak. Where communication is poor, where leaders are isolated, where accountability is selective, where people are afraid to speak, where one person becomes more trusted than the process, strong organizations do not depend on suspicion. Remember that. Strong organizations must never depend on suspicion. They depend on transparency, direct communication, fair systems, responsible challenge, evidence, and leadership courage. My quote for tonight as I leave. The most dangerous influence is often not the one that announces itself. The most dangerous influence is not the one that announces itself. It is the one that quietly becomes trusted more than the truth. The most dangerous influence in an organization is often not the one that announces itself. It's the one that quietly becomes trusted more than the truth. As leaders, let us reflect. Let us reflect. Let us reflect. Are we taking stories without verifying? Are we going to accept information without verifying? Are we going to make decisions based on the words of one person? Are we going to disrupt the lives of 50 based on what one person says? Let us not fall into that trap. When someone comes to you with a story, ask for the evidence. Ask for the evidence. When someone challenges an idea, ask for an alternative. Ask for the evidence as to why it can't work, but ask for suggestions. When someone comes to you with a story, ask them what did they contribute to that story. Ask them what did they contribute to that story. When someone brings the name of others to you, pause them, call the person and say, tell me what you're going to say now about John Brown. If someone comes to you with a story about John Brown, pause, call John Brown. When John Brown come, you can go ahead. Now, John Brown, so-and-so is here to tell me something about you, but I'd rather it be said in front of you. It better be the truth. Say you set, as leaders, you set your boundaries. You must set the boundaries. And if you don't set the boundaries, people will gain influence in your organization and use that influence to cripple your organization. What did I say? People will gain influence in your organization and use that same influence to cripple your organizations. So as leaders, be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Exactly. Just don't entertain gossip. So thank you very much. That is it on Leadership Unscripted tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for staying with me. See you tomorrow night for another thrilling discussion, another informative discussion. Thank you. Exactly. Be careful with people. Good night, Dr. P. Always go to the person it's about. And don't just go around saying stuff. Thank you, India.
Hey, give thanks for life. Give thanks for life. Oh, chimney, chimney. Today my rise like the sunrise, my bright and my upright. No one can block my vibes. I've been up here who I fight and who I criticize.
I'm on the high.
So you can say what you want to and do what you want to. It's no concern to me. I'm not more ambition, but dip on more ambition to rule my destiny. Oh, it's my day to do anything I want to. It's my time, and I'll use it any way I want to. It's my some prisoner and don't invade my space. I'm in a different place, different phase, moving on my way. So if you feel like a champion, then nothing can go wrong. This one is your song. Hey, shoot away your troubles, put away your worries, help me sing along. Oh, it's my day to do anything I want to. It's my time, and I'll use it any way I want to. It's my life, and
This choir is good.
every reaction is all mine. My day, my time, my life out there. So, feeling alive, feeling alive.
Ensure you get your copy of The Psychology of Fragility on Amazon. Ensure you get your copy on Amazon. Or if you type in www.drryandale.com, that's my website. The links for my books are there. So, The Psychology of Fragility. If you're a teacher, the teaching and learning leader. And I see some John Gray students on here. So I have 2 children books, and Sky and Company, make sure you get one. George's Journey. The Note in the Principal Drawer. So if you're a student on the line and you want any of these books, and you don't want to go on Amazon, if you go to Welly's, they have these books there. They have my books they're selling. You can go to Welly's and you'll get it. These are children books. George's Journey, wonderful children book. The Note in the Principal Drawer. All these books, if you're in the Cayman Islands, you can get them at Welly's. They're there at Welly's. Or you can go on Amazon if you're not in the Cayman Islands. They're on Amazon. We have them locally as well. Thank you very much and good night.